Minor but major, join us to discuss the little things that make a big impact on your quality of life in Eve.
Oh. Hello, hello. I've got to say, it's really exciting to see such a packed room. So thank you so much for taking your time to come and participate, because unfortunately, this is audience participation today. So this is the Little Things panel that me and my team work on a lot. Unfortunately, CCP Carker couldn't be here, but we're going to introduce ourselves and we're going to give you a little bit of information about what to do with the index cards that you have. So I'm CCP K1P1, and I produce one of our gameplay teams for EVE Online, and I get to work with these lovely faces every single day.
Well, I'm CCP Masterplan. I'm a senior software engineer on EVE Gameplay.
Hi, I'm CCP Fozzie. I'm one of the senior game designers on EVE.
I'm CCP Kestrel. I'm a QA analyst on the gameplay team.
And I am CCP Mercury, and I'm the senior UI UX designer at CCP. So today, we're talking about little things. This is an initiative that our brilliant CCP Carker has been leading for a few years. And what we focus on is finding quality of life improvements like the ones you're seeing on screen right now. Some changes that can be very impactful while still being low effort. So think about a right-click option that will save 10 clicking options, maybe hundreds at times. Or UI updates, like proper listing of materials in the industry window. They were a little bit all over the place not so long ago. All these kind of little fixes that will make your life in New Eden smoother and just more entertaining overall. So today, you've been given some cards and some pens. And what we'd like to do is have you write suggestions for little things. We would like them to be structured in a way where you can have the suggestion title. Please keep it to one sentence and make it as straightforward as possible. And then you can expand with notes or context. Please write just one suggestion per card side. Nothing that needs to change, like that's going to affect the whole system of like, please rebalance 30 ships. No, not suggestions like that. But otherwise, we're here to listen, and we have one mic so far. We might have a second one. You can see it is on my right-hand side here in front of the stage. So if you'd like to speak your suggestion up loud, please line, and we're going to listen and discuss. We'll reserve a few minutes for each one of you, but of course, we're short on time, so we'll try to keep it rolling. Otherwise, if you prefer to just have it written, don't worry, leave your cards on the table at the end of this session, and we're gonna just come and pick them up and read them. We really value your input. We really care about player feedback, so please tell us what we can do to make your life easier.
Yeah, and if you need any more index cards, our glamorous assistant over here, just raise your hand and he will come and give you some more index cards.
And for people looking for the kind of formatting that you can use on it, this is some examples up on the screen here of some of the, these are ones we've received in the past, right? Yeah.
Yep.
With the, well, you can go into the details of what we're looking for.
Yeah, this is actually one of the examples that are on the Little Things page. It's on eveonline.com on the forum, so you can also leave suggestions there. I have a QR code to show you at the end of the session. But yeah, you can see, like, have a suggestion. This is a simple title, a note on how it could be useful, and then the context of where that change could happen and how it could improve your life. Cool. I think that's all.
Yeah, so we have a mic here. We would love it if someone would come up and actually say it out loud, because otherwise this might be a very quiet session.
Mic check, mic check.
Yes, perfect.
Yep, we can hear you.
Do we have any wormholers in? As you may be aware, we have a wonderful system of corporate bookmarks. And the corporate bookmarks are up to 500. I run a relatively large wormhole community corp. and we hit 500 every day. Can we please, please, please have more corporate bookmarks? I'd like to see us go up to maybe 2,000, possibly.
Is that a DB thing?
Yeah, you can talk. The limits are partly there for some performance.
Yeah.
We can talk about it.
Yeah, in theory, the number is, we can scale to whatever number we want, but obviously the more we go up, the slower it is for every client that's going to load this. With bookmarks being a shared resource, one person making a change, that's going to then ripple out to a lot of other people. That's also why there's reasonably decent caching timers, so it's not kind of up to date. So yes, we can increase it. This isn't the first time we've heard this. Maybe it's something that we would look in, like with the corp upgrades, like the customization stuff.
Yeah.
Like, is it something that you would be prepared to sort of say pay Evermarks for?
Oh, that's a good question. Potentially, yes.
Okay.
Let me be realistic. We are a new player-focused wormhole corp. We bring in a lot of new people. We have vast amounts of people who are scanning every day. And that 500 bookmark limit is limiting the size of our corp.
Yeah.
Because we cannot expand because we just don't have the physical space to expand our chain.
Yeah. Fair dues.
So yeah, Evermarks would be an acceptable solution if that was the path you wanted to go down.
Yeah. Thank you. Perfect.
I'm wondering about fleet ship type selections. By that I mean, I know that FCs can see what type of fleets, what type of ships are in their fleet. Is there a way we can get from the fleet window to just select all, say, command ships, drag them to watch list, select all dictors, drag them to watch list? Rather, at the moment, we're going out in fleets and then somebody sits out in the undock and tries to pitch out who's in the command ship so they can watch list, who's in the logi for the the logi's separate anyway. But, a way of just by ship type, which obviously is somewhere already recorded because the fleet commander already has it.
Yeah.
It would just drag that into, be able to drag that into the watch list.
I think it's a really cool idea. I can say the reason that the current functionality, which isn't obviously drag to watch list, but just lets you see what's in the fleet, the reason that the design decision was made to limit that to the fleet commander was just to allow for some OPSEC, so you can be a little bit less worried about spies joining the fleet. That being said, potentially some kind of, if you're in a, if you've been either given a permission or just let the fleet commander check whether or not this should be something that everyone can see or not, then they can just opt into it and they can take the risk of the spies being able to see what everyone's flying. Yeah, I think that seems really cool to me. I don't know how hard it'd be to implement, but I love the idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this could be parts of this is minor, some of it I think is a bigger one. But I'm part of Fraternity, Multi-Language Alliance. I've been part of Indetorid. We were next door to Russians, and so sometimes there is a language barrier for communication. One of the things that is a minor issue that I think is an easy fix is when a Chinese player or a Russian player links a ship or system in game, it shows in their native language, which means that as an English player, we then have to click the link to pop it up so we can see what they're actually talking about. That's the minor change. I think having it show those linked to in-game systems in the native language of the client would be a benefit. The longer, more technical ask would be some way to maybe right-click on a text to auto-translate between the languages, because sometimes, we've actually, in Frat, we've had issues where we've shot friendlies because they're speaking Chinese or we're speaking English and they can't understand us. And so having that communication barrier, any way to eliminate that, because EVE is a multicultural game with people from, 47 countries today. There's people that are speaking all kinds of languages.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The first element with the linking of systems, yeah, that feels like it's the simpler technical task to put into place. Yeah, I don't exactly know how hard it would be, but it probably that's I think a great candidate for this kind of card, right? And for adding to our list.
I don't know if anyone plays Galaxy Conquest, but that has on the chat you can click per message to translate. I've no idea how I did it because it's a different team of devs, but yeah, it sounds like that might be.
I know on the second one, on like building a simple translation system into the game, probably with like an API to a third-party service. I know that has been talked about. I've heard some of the folks in the EVE Online leadership talk about the idea in the past, so it's definitely been on our radar before. And yeah, I think it would be a great addition to the game. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's just one of those things that's very helpful and helps build the communities further.
Definitely. Thank you.
With the rollout of the new workforce and such, you have systems that have keep stars and fortizars that you can't, or that were positioned specifically to ansiblexes. And now you have systems that you can't have those ansiblexes in because of such. So if you were to implement some sort of rotational, where you could rotate your station to reposition it in the same position, but rotate it around to redirect it to a Tataru or something, where it costs it costs the supersonic ice or the gas or even fuel blocks to be able to reposition it to redirect that structure, I think would be a huge thing.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Thank you.
I know that was something that was talked about back when, in like 2016, when the upwall structures were first being developed.
Yeah.
And it was considered, I think the thing that blocked at the time was they were considering just allowing it for this. I wasn't on the team that worked directly on it, but they're considering allowing it to just always be changeable. And they were a little bit where you could do things like you could use it to launch people by like turning your fortizar to like smack them off. But as long as it goes through a like slower period where it has to like rematerialize itself, that should solve that problem. Yeah, it would need to be implemented, but that seems like a very reasonable suggestion. Yeah.
All right, there's something that I lose ships to frequently that, as a fairly new player, always catches me off guard, especially in the heat of battle. Keyboard shortcuts don't work in each window type. So, for example, if I'm going to hit W-click to warp to something in the overview, no problem. W-click to warp something that my FC broadcast, no problem. W-click to warp to a bookmark that I placed, doesn't work. W-click to warp to someone on my watch list, doesn't work. So if those kinds of like little inconsistencies of places where like the right-click menu works, the radial menu works, but keyboard shortcuts don't work, could be worked out. That would be really great for quality of life.
Huge. Yeah.
That kind of thing is exactly what like this whole Little Things project was basically built for, those sort of things. What I'd suggest is produce a list of the places where you feel like it's missing right now with as much detail as possible, and then that's a great candidate for some of our UI folks to just take a pass at when they get a chance.
Perfect. I'll write it down.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, my question's about watch lists. When I add a squad to my watch list, I want to add the squad to my watch list, not just the people who were in the squad at the time I added it to the watch list. Could you make it auto-update if I'm in a fleet and extra people join, it just adds them to the watch list?
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yep, I think that's a really interesting idea. The way the watch list, so the way the code is working right now when you add a squad to the watch list is that it's just passing along that list of players, so it doesn't have to keep track of it. There would definitely be some performance considerations about like the size of watch list can be an issue, but I mean that should be fine. Yeah. As long as we still enforce that cap. Yeah, I think that seems interesting.
Thank you.
So first of all, thank you for changing PI, because that was a nightmare. I promise I've been good this year, therefore I demand the following. Please make it possible to start multiple jobs in the industry window. I've got eight accounts with 3 industry characters each, and going through my list to get everything done is a nightmare. So if you could make it possible to just either select several or whatever, and then either start a job or invention, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And for the PI, we mentioned that CCP Karka can't be here because she has other engagements, but a lot of that was, she was a big driver behind those recent PI work, so shout out to her.
Yeah, and it's really good to hear that everyone enjoys it. Or, yeah.
So as a wormholer, I definitely support more bookmark shares. But I also have one change that could be a little solution for the things, is the 25-hour worm timer, because a lot of wormholes are 24 or 16 hours, and if you make them auto expire in 25 hours, that means that it takes a downtime, and all the 24 and all the 16-hour holes will be automatically gone, without you doing anything, and it frees up those valuable bookmarks.
So you're talking about the default expiry time?
It's giving you an extra option.
Expiry time.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, that seems very reasonable, yeah.
Hi, so my thing is about settings and resolution with your windows, especially for multi-boxers such as myself. So when I'm mining or smart bomb ratting, my 4 little accounts are on the lowest settings possible, but the one that's controlling everything is on the highest settings. So I'm playing with the skinner, just looking at the pretty lights. But if I close those 4 accounts first and then close the high settings account, when I open everything, they all retain the settings and resolution of the last closed account.
Yeah.
Which then crashes my computer. And yes, I can go in and just open it and close it how I'm supposed to, but if I am called to dinner or some other engagement, I'm just click close everything, I'm not gonna remember which one closed last.
Yeah.
Is there a way to keep the settings at an account-based level rather than just pulling the settings from the last closed account?
I think this is a really good point. It's something that would be good to, again, write down and add to the list, because the people who would be able to evaluate how difficult this would be to do and to implement it are our launcher team, and they don't happen to be on this stage at the moment.
I actually think that they're next to the stage right now, though.
But yes, this would essentially be a launcher feature request, and I think it's a great launcher feature request.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it might also be possible to do right now as well if you use a different account profile. You can set a different launcher profile, and if you have the account with the max settings using a different one to the 4 other accounts you're using, then I think it should remember the settings for the different profile settings that you have.
I'm just going to start off. This is not my idea. My friends were talking about this before the grand opening.
Is that a disclaimer?
I didn't see them in here.
Asking for a friend.
A spool counter for your Triglavian weapon systems, so you don't have to sit there and count the ammo if you're multi-boxing, and on top of that for their repair systems, so you know how many cycles in you are.
That's a great idea. Yep, that seems like a really reasonable addition. We just have to decide how to put it in the UI in a way that is nice and clear, either whether it's a number, or whether it's
So my thought was
bar that fills up or something.
Where you end up seeing where you're being E-ward to death or being remote repped, you can add an X number there in one of the nice blue
Are you talking about on your end of it or on the recipient's end?
On your end.
Yeah, the recipient's end might be information that you wouldn't have access to or wouldn't necessarily want to then have access to, but your own end, yeah. Because your own end right now, you can do it just, like I said, by counting the ammo. But yeah, or by hovering over and seeing the DPS tooltip and knowing that, but yeah, having something clear makes a lot of sense to me, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, so I got a few cards here, but I'll take them in order. So the new corp projects, they're amazing. Could we get an auto-renew feature? Because I pay my people to kill things, and that's great, but when they've then killed 10 marauders and they've each been paid 50 million ISK each, it would be nice if it's just renewed, rather than me having to go and renew it. Because, I could just increase the value of the bounty, but then I have less ISK to do other things with, so, right?
Yep, I think that's
Sounds fair.
Yeah, a great request. Again, something to definitely write down. This is the folks who work on the corp projects aren't on the stage right now, but they will be on a bunch of other stages throughout the Fanfest. So you will, there will be opportunities to talk to them in panels as well that you will see appear on your schedule soon.
And after this, we'll have all the cards so that we can kind of put them in the right passage. We know where they work.
Expanding on the corp projects, can we have alliance projects? Because we build things with the alliance, and it would be great to say we need, right now we need 400 million pyrite for building something specific.
I 100% agree. That would be a really great addition to the game. CCP should do that.
Yeah, and then on the multi-fit tool, please give us more inventory options, because I'm making ISK to pay my dudes. And it would be great if I could fit 200 sabers from a division, and then put that on contract rather than having to drag everything to the hangar floor and then hope that I get everything back out.
There are some reasons why we kind of constrain it to your thing rather than sort of pulling from corp hangars and things.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is, it's not an immediate process. So, it takes time, and to deal with issues of
what if your permissions change?
Yeah, what if you get kicked from corp, or you lose roles kind of halfway through, and we end up with ships in a weird, half-assembled state. So by making sure that you own all the things before you start, it helps counter some of that. But yeah, I agree. It would be good quality of life to be able to do more of that.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Hello, I want to start off by saying that at a previous Little Things here at the Harpa, I asked for structure skins, which I acknowledged was not necessarily completely a little thing, but it was something that would be really, really nice to have. And obviously since then, that has happened. So thank you very much for structure skins.
Thank you. If you hadn't said it, we wouldn't have done it, obviously.
Well,
that's proof this works, right?
Not a little thing. But today I'm going to start with a little thing. And this was actually promised, I'm pretty sure, before. And it didn't happen.
Oh, no.
I would like to have chat MOTDs expanded 4,000 characters, which includes HTML formatting. Is not enough. And you promised to double it to 8,000 at one point, and then it just never, ever happened.
I can speak a bit on that, because I did the original MOTD stuff way, way back in the day. And we had plans to work on that, and then the back-end chat system, a different team, we moved that to a new system, and so all of that stuff was replaced. So when it was asked before, it was probably asked of a team that were working on the old system, and they thought, yeah, we can do that, and then the team doing on the new system picked up. So we can definitely get that.
Maybe. I think it actually appeared in notes that it was going to be done. It would appear in such and such a patch, and then, sort of like Logi on kill mails, just one of those things. Related to chat systems, I too am involved with fraternity, though I'm not fraternity, I'm in Winterco. We have a hell of a lot of chat channels, what we use to things like ratting channels and things like that. We have, I don't know, 300-400 of them. Do you know how much of a pain in the ass it is to update those when an alliance leaves or joins? Because you know what you have to do? You have to change them all, one by one. We need channel ACLs, just like we have for structures and stuff like that, that can have a set of people attached to them who are allowed to do that, and we can then attach them to channels so that we can change things in just one place, or at least less than 400 some. And I realize that's not as small as like doubling the MOTD, but that would be a huge thing. I mean, really, I would really appreciate that. So last time structure skins, this time I would like channel ACLs. Please, thank you.
I think it's a great idea.
Every year, it seems like we get new ships. That's cool. I need more fittings, because it says you've got 500 already and you can't do any more. Can we have more fittings, or an automatic timeout that says all fittings older than 1 year, we're going to auto-delete, because I can't go back and find all the ones that I what-ifed a year and a half ago in order to go delete them.
That second one's a cool idea. So yeah, in general, this is a similar constraint to the bookmark question, where yes, like an extra 1,000 for you wouldn't break things, but like if everyone starts to use an extra 1,000, then it starts to get out of control. So there's a little bit of constraints, although we probably, like, there's probably wiggle room to expand it a little bit. But yeah, doing something like we do with bookmarks, where when you create a fitting, you have the option to have it be a permanent fitting or to just hang around for like whatever, a year or 2 years or
at least just having a last modified kind of time. So
that would be grand.
Well, that would be cool. Yep. Yeah, that's a cool idea, and that fits, I think, well into the little things category. Yeah.
And other little thing, if you make the asteroids drift a little bit, some random direction, so miners have to pay attention. It's just a little bit.
So asteroids do sometimes drift a little bit, and it causes some weird things. So asteroids have a lot of mass, and we've had. If you've ever experienced a asteroid belt with like one rock that is 8,000 kilometers off in a certain direction, it's because they bumped into each other and one went off. So we try to keep I think having moving asteroids as a specific gameplay mechanic makes a lot of sense for some potential features in the future. But in general, we try to keep them still because they tend to do weird things when they bounce around. Some of you may already know when one place where asteroids do move is when you break the chunk from a moon mining extraction. And the way we actually have that work is they don't follow our normal physics at all. We give them invisible engines and an invisible AI movement and tell them, you're going to this spot. We actually, like, when you break the chunk, the game generates a coordinate for all of them, and they all fly to that location. So if you do bump them, they'll come back around and then come back to that location. Because otherwise things got really janky.
Well, the ice has less mass, so they can move a little bit more, especially the ice.
They can shatter.
There you go, they can shatter, that's it.
Thank you.
All right. This one is on behalf of my buddy Senate. He's asking to increase the number of corporate contracts. Unfortunately, he's limited by, I'm not sure what the limit is currently, 500. He has about 7 different old corporations to manage all his contracts. So if it's possible to help him with that,
I was going to say 500 seems like our lucky number.
I mean, in a lot of cases, those were kind of chosen, again, for general performance reasons, but chosen not necessarily, they're not necessarily the number that's like the most we can possibly do. Someone like knew the general performance issues and just kind of, it sounds about right.
And isn't the contracts one skill?
The personal ones are skill-based.
There is a
corporate
contract skill, yes.
Yeah.
Make an advanced one of that.
Yeah, we could potentially do that, and then that would make it so that not everyone would be using all those, which helps keep the performance down a little bit. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a question regarding structure management. If it would be possible to make that, to unify that more, because with Equinox and the Skyhooks, we had an issue when you want to give them a profile, you have to fly to every single thing, give it a profile, and when we were setting that up, we had some other people doing that as well, so a coordinator of me did a mistake and put them all the wrong profile, so I had to go all after them again. I almost cried because that was Equinox itself was already a pain. So, I mean, if I'm owning the structure anyway, I would just like to manage it from any station. That would be really great. So, thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a reason behind that? Did we have a reason behind that?
It was something we looked into at the time, and there was some weird complexity that will make everyone sad. But hopefully I would like us to be able to get to that point where we do it all unified.
Find an engineer to bribe, maybe.
I'm guessing that's not you. Sorry, go for it.
So coming back around to contracts, I have 2 very related requests. So one is when you are a contract stalker, you get a lot that will need to be deleted and re-added. Being able to bulk delete contracts would save so much frackin' time.
Yep. That's the kind of thing that's a great candidate for this list,
The second part of that is just being able to renew contracts. Like, okay, I have this whole list, click, renew, another 30 days or whatever would be amazing.
Yep. I think those are both great suggestions, and those are both, yeah, like exactly right up the little things alley. So thanks.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, I have one question on corporation permissions. So currently roles are grantable, titles are not. The only way you can grant a title to somebody is if you have director or higher permissions. Titles are great because they let us create permission masks, essentially. This allows us to delegate to other members without giving them the keys to the kingdom. That'd be super helpful. And then just some minor things that I thought of as I was in line. The bookmark expirations, if we could set manual requirements for specific folders within those shared bookmarks and say everything that comes in here by default has to expire.
That's a cool idea. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And then when you're searching for fittings in your existing fittings, if you search for a ship, it does not show the ship unless your fitting name has the ship name in it.
Yep. That's another great point. Yeah. And again, that is like another one that's a great like little things candidate that fits really well into this.
To expand on that, some tagging would be kind of neat too.
Yep.
But perfect, thank you.
Yeah, tagging is something that we've wanted for a lot of searches. It's something that obviously would benefit, the market would benefit a huge amount for it too, right? If you could search sensor booster and you get like all the variations, even the ones that don't have the words sensor booster in that order, then that would be a huge benefit for that as well. But specifically, even like that's a bigger project. Doing something like making sure the ship name is always searchable on your fittings, that's a smaller, easier project. So that seems, yeah, a great candidate for this. Yeah.
Hello. Seems that we have a secret setting in the client. There is a bracket always show ship text that we can, we have to open a file, the prefs.ini to enable, you know. And my proposal is to have these settings in the client that we enable or disable because, you know, it's very useful. When we are in a small gang, we need to see the text. When we are in bigger fleets, it's a pain. And
yeah, so you can switch it more easily.
Very
good point.
Feeling that
Some
was
of these
Alliance tournament tool. That's where that comes from.
That might be where the code originally got added. Yeah. This feels like one of those. Yeah, anyways, I think that's a very interesting idea. I don't know enough about the possible constraints on it. I don't know if you do, Fabian. Or,
No, not really.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely something to look into.
Okay. Another one is just an easy one, like FC command. Instead to regroup, also add a keep at range. Just a default is like 1,000 is okay. But maybe it can be useful in some situation instead of shipping, going around the FC.
Yep. Yeah, I think that seems.
Isn't a dirty secret? Isn't regroup just keep at range 0?
I think it is.
I think just orbits at 1,000.
Orbits.
Orbit 1,000. Yeah.
Okay. Orbit. Yeah.
So yeah, essentially letting you choose variations of that the same way as you can with your other movement commands. That seems interesting. Yeah.
And the last one, remove the 30 bookmarks folder limit because we have a lot of folders and I get to the limit. So I have to use my alt to create other bookmarks, and is a pain.
Yeah, thanks. This is similar to that request early on, where there are some performance limitations there, but there is probably room for us to expand.
Wiggle room, yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So I got a question stolen just before. The toggle always ship text is actually definitely in the tournament UI and it works. It's just a toggle on preferences and reloads the brackets. So you can go do that.
Correct.
Second of all is utilizing Windows heap, trimming, and compaction, because we've found that 1.1 gig clients after that can run at 400 meg consistently.
So that would have been, I don't know if you were in the previous talk. From
the engine team?
From the engine team. They would know more about, and I think, was I speaking to you about this yesterday?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, that's why this sounds familiar. Yeah. So I think they would be the better ones to action on that, but we can certainly pass that on.
I don't know. Joe, did you leave? Joe was here earlier. We'll find it for you.
Yeah.
Hey, so I'm a pretty new player, and more importantly, I'm also not a smart man. So you guys can correct me if this isn't already in the game, but from an interface standpoint, one of the things that has been very counterintuitive to me starting to play the game is utilizing your keyboard shortcuts for warp to or jump or align, approach, keep a distance, that kind of stuff. I believe the current interface is keyboard shortcut for orbit, for example, then click on target that you want to orbit around. What I would love and would be very intuitive to me is to just hit the shortcut and it goes into orbit immediately on whatever your currently selected celestial or target or anything like that is, if that's not already in the game.
Yeah, that's something that I know we've seen, especially new players come in and have like it doesn't meet their expectations. If I remember correctly, the current behavior was chosen with some concerns about people trying to type and not having the window selected in mind. I might be misremembering, but yeah, that's something I don't think we currently have a toggle for that, but it might be an interesting one to add as like a settings toggle. Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect, thanks.
I would like more jump clones. Now I understand Brave may not want me to jump to Delve anymore, but more jump clones like in a station. So like 15's the max, that's fine, but like maybe 15 stations, and then in those stations you could have multiple jump clones, because like, you know, sometimes you're in an armor ship and you need armor implants, and then shield implants, and on and on and on. So hitting that 15 is pretty easy when you run multiple doctrines.
Yep, that's a very good point.
Yep. Thank you.
So with the fleet formations, I think it would be quite handy to have your current fleet formation in like the main memberless windows. So when you first create a fleet, if I'm remembering correctly, it remembers your last fleet formation that you used, and to know what that is when you create the fleet, so you don't, you're intentionally warping the fleet in the formation that you want.
Yeah, instead of like having forgotten that you still have it set from a previous one. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yep, I think that's another great candidate for this kind of thing, where it's probably a relatively small UI change. So definitely get it on the card, and we'll pass it along to all the right people.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
On the structure management tab and utilities, it will show you the amount of fuel blocks you've got left in your structures, so you know how many days you need to refuel. Is there not a way to show how much gas, how many days left on our gas and our Maximox drills in the same area?
I'm sure there would be.
Because at the minute we have to click on every single drill to see how many fuel blocks we can see.
Yep.
We can't.
Yeah, I don't think there's any technical blockers here as much as there is we sort of approach the gas fuel from a different direction with the metanoxes. So we didn't really have the code support to do exactly the thing we wanted. So what we actually did is, behind the scenes, what's happening is you're not generating moon goo, you're turning the gas into moon goo, kind of. But yes, this would need to be new code, but I can't think of any reason why it would be like prohibitive necessarily. Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
I would like to bring up a few things on Skyhooks, starting with something that was partly covered already, was the remote management.
Yeah.
Now, we have a Skyhook window that's dedicated for things like that, seeing all the reinforcement status, et cetera, but you can actually remote manage Skyhook profiles. But you do it through the asset window, and then assets in space under your corporation, and you can do it in the right-click menu there. I would like that to be in the actual Skyhook window. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Another thing I'd like to bring up with that is it would be really nice if we could expose the the vulnerability and the status of reagent base for Skyhooks. My thinking is that you would potentially create more conflict because a lot of friendly robbing happens. At the moment, in my alliance, the only people that can see it are those who are in the holding corporation. They can see all the vulnerability timers. The rest of the people have to look on the map actively and see the new pop-ups and say, okay, I'm going to go over there. Obviously, that's a visibility problem. If more people could be exposed to it in my alliance, more people can go and friendly rob and potentially encounter people wanting to rob in return.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we've also even discussed like the idea of trying to show like Skyhooks that will be vulnerable soon, not just, yeah, exactly. So it's definitely something that we're thinking about, but just need the time for it. Thank you.
Thanks. One thing I'll note, we've got 5 minutes left in the time that's allotted
Maybe
to
we'll
this.
just-
So basically, that just means we're probably going to be moving through the questions a bit more quickly from this point on.
And no one else can get in line.
Hi. We heard it before, the fleet management. So we have regroup, keep it range is very helpful. I handle 10 accounts, so for mining, but also for P4P, it's a great thing. Please integrate it.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I think we all have overviews with like 6 or 7 tabs, and not a lot of people have the screen real estate to have like multiple overview tabs open. So like a hotkey to switch through the overview tabs really quickly would be very great.
I like that idea a lot. That's a really good idea. Yeah.
Coming back to the Skyhook topic, I'm in my alliance really responsible for managing these vulnerability timers, so I can expose them to our people. I talked to you yesterday regarding this.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. Please make it possible, either give them an ESI endpoint or make it so that they can go into the window and just copy everything and post it somewhere in Excel or somewhere, because that's the only window in Eve where I cannot copy stuff out of it.
Yeah.
Those are both really good ideas, I think.
I also think like the second one is a defect. Like I do it on purpose. You can't copy and paste in that window or copy the window.
Yeah. And again, shouting back to CCP Karka, who's done a lot of copy-paste tools, so I'm sure she'll look forward.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Hi. I use a lot of alts, and it's kind of annoying to trade commodities between alts. Instead of, my alts are all in someone else's corporation, so is there a way to rent a personal hangar and assign characters to them so I can just easily put transfers into there? And
yeah.
It's just quicker.
I mean, this has been something that's been on our list of things that would be interesting to explore for a very long time. There's obviously some challenging, some technical work. Anything to do with inventories like this has been a bit of a challenge, but we looked at this all the way back when we first introduced citadels, and I think it's something that makes a lot of sense, but I can't promise when it would be because it wouldn't be trivial. It's not a little thing, but I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, I wanted to ask if we could get an LP transaction history, especially if the corp is receiving a gifted LP from another character. It would really help to know who was the one gifted it and how many.
Yep, LP transaction logs are definitely a wanted feature. So yeah, definitely agree with that.
And the second one was just, can we have probably the possibility to change an orbital plane by hand from the default? So if I got a ship orbiting, so I can alter that inclination. That would also really help, or the direction of travel.
So, because we're in short time, complicated physics reasons why that's not straightforward to do. A lot of our performance optimizations that let us scale to huge fights mean that all of those planes are kind of all pre-calculated rather than being individually customized per ship. So quite a lot of technical issues that would be making that difficult, unfortunately.
Thank you.
So, and I guess I'm the last one. Since Supers doesn't get lots of love in the last few months, years, I would ask to have some better fighter management so that you basically can easier manage your fighters in your super carrier or normal carrier. It's very a pain if you have multiple accounts using a super or more carriers than once. That is really painful.
Yep, I think it's a very good point. That's a UI element that we just haven't really gone back and done another polish pass on in a while, and it could definitely use it, yeah.
And I got another one. Would it be possible to get some kind of battleship that is also capable to support shield?
Yes.
So an equivalent to the Nestor, perhaps?
Yep. This has been, I mean, this is obviously not the first time we've heard this. It's been a discussion for many years. And I think, yeah, I'd say the odds that it'll happen eventually is essentially 100%. It'll most definitely happen at some point. I can't commit to when, but it's one of those ideas that keeps bubbling back up. And when things keep bubbling back up, that's a good sign that they're worth doing.
Yeah. I guess the Deathless would be a good addition.
It's possible, yeah.
Thank you so much. Right. We are out of time, but you guys have been great, and you've gotten a lot of good ideas. Thank you for speaking on them. Just leave your cards on the table. We will collect them, I promise you. We will also make sure that if they're not something that we can do, but something that we can then push to the team that does.
Yep, I was just putting the QR code. If you want to write down more suggestions, this is the web page for the little things.
Yep. So that each forum post, we regularly check it. So thank you.
Thanks, everyone.